Hello and welcome to an Elysium 25-man heroic Halfus Wyrmbreaker kill. This is Wyrmbreaker speaking. The video you're about to see is actually recorded in two sessions because I forgot to roll the kill cam, the cam on a kill try. So you'll see the pull in one recording and then rest of the fight in another one. This is the pool. We choose to take on 3 dragons from the start on heroic difficulty on 3 different tanks. So there's 1 tank with 2 drakes and 1 on the boss, and me as a feral DPS on a 3rd dragon. We kill off my dragon first, the slate dragon, and then we take on another one of the dragons, and after the second one is dead, we actually pull the 3rd one and release the ads at the start of the fight as well. The big difference between 25-man heroic and 25-man non-heroic is that all the dragons will be up and alive. So you don't have 2 sleeping dragons like you normally would. So as said, what we do is that we release 3 dragons from the start of the fight, including or plus the small ads, and then we release the last dragon after we killed off 2 of the other dragons. We have 2 tanks bouncing back and forth, Halfus, as they get too many stacks to tank him. As said as well, we have a feral druid DPS to tank off the 1st dragon to free up a tank for a DPS later on. So we'll actually only have 3 tanks rest of the fight, where we at this point have 4. As you see, right after the 1st dragon dies, I go into DPS mode and I begin to help out the DPS with killing off the dragons one by one. After this, it's a fairly simple fight. You will have to have a mage interrupt the AoE damage effect that he does every time he had the stun effect. That won't start before he gets to, I believe it's 30% or so. So until that time, you'll just have to have very good healers, and you'll have to don't stand in fireballs on the ground. Have good tanks that's good at the mechanic turning back and forward and timing it with the stun. As you see in a second, he will be stunned, and that Halfus, and won't be able to do any attacks for a while. So you will want to switch tank just after that happens in order to maximize the time of tanking you can. As soon as the drakes die, you move on to the next one designated in advance. You can decide yourself how you want to do it. As for all the whelps, you have 2 choices. You can choose to focus them down, you can choose to have a few people focus them down, or you can simply choose to have them killed by residual AoE attacks, living bomb, etc, etc. This was the option we chose. Yes, we did have a mage focus on them, but nothing out of the ordinary on that one. He simply living bombed a shitload of them, and then he continued to do his normal DPS rotation, I believe. So as you see, at this point we have killed off 3 dragons and are killing off the last one. And again, all the melee, you see us avoiding the fireballs as much as possible. Of course, we're taking a few hits, but we're actually moving away whenever we can or whenever we're getting low, to avoid the damage. And down the last one goes. At this point, Halfus is stunned, and we are swapping tanks right after him getting out of stun in order to maximize the time that you have to reset the buff or debuff that he puts on you, which is a stacking mortal strike. You see us here moving on to him. At this point, he has a very big stack of debuff, which makes us able to do huge amounts of damage. You see me critting 180,000 at times on him, and just really spread your DPS. Then he does this AoE thing which knocks you on your back 3 times. Right after that, it's important that you have some very, very good interrupters. This can be a mage that blanks out right before the final AoE attack and actually counterspells him. It can be other DPS such as a paladin that bubbles himself so he doesn't get knocked down and interrupts him, but it's very important that you do this or you will die. There's nothing much more to say about it. This is the hardest mechanic in the fight, that is finding and having a stable DPS that can avoid the final knockdown. Like, here it comes, and you see him begin to cast right after he does the final AoE attack, and that will need to be interrupted or you will have people dying. And that is basically rest of the fight, from 30% down. And you see him dying in a second, and us collecting our loot.